He wanted to run 2 plants, 2 crews. He gave us a choice. We could either work with him or work with Dave. Many people are crazy about Gold Rush for the massive machines and glittering gold. But the real drama often happens when the cameras are off. The departure of Chris Doummit, Parker Schnabel's most trusted foreman, was presented as a simple case of a veteran needing a break. The thing nobody tells you is that it was a brutal firing in everything but name. Everything has to be cleaned in the golden "I can't do that. I just can't." Pushed to his absolute limit by an impossible goal. Chris was faced with a shocking choice that made his exit inevitable. Sending a clear message that loyalty has its price. The 10,000-ounce tyranny. To put it mildly, the Klondike has a way of breaking even the strongest people. For Chris Doummit, a man who had become the very definition of reliability on Gold Rush, Season 15 was a perfect storm. You see, this wasn't just another season of hard work. It was an all-out assault on the limits of human endurance, driven by Parker Schnabel's most audacious and frankly reckless goal yet. Parker didn't just want to mine gold. He wanted to mine an amount so colossal it sounded like a mistake. 10,000 ounces. That's over 600 pounds of pure gold worth nearly $20 million. It's going to put a lot of stress on everybody. But it's the only hope I see for getting anywhere close to 10,000 ounces this season. That's for damn sure. What many overlooked is that to hit a number that astronomical, you can't just work harder. You have to work at a pace that is fundamentally unsustainable. And the full weight of that impossible demand landed squarely on the shoulders of Chris Doummit. The irony of gold mining is that for all the giant machines and mountains of moved earth, the entire multi-million-dollar enterprise hinges on the tiny glittering specks recovered in the final delicate stage. That last step was Chris's domain, the gold room. Under normal circumstances, managing the cleanup from 1 or even 2 wash plants is a meticulous and exhausting job. A small mistake, a moment of lost focus, could cost thousands of dollars in lost gold. But for this season, Parker, in his relentless pursuit of a legendary number, decided to run 3 wash plants simultaneously. There was Big Red, the reliable workhorse. There was Rock Monster, a beast in its own right. And then there was Sloofer, the massive main plant. 3 separate streams of gold-rich concentrates, all funneling down to one man. The workload instantly transformed from demanding to physically impossible. Imagine finishing a grueling 12-hour shift. Every muscle in your body is screaming, only to face the task of cleaning out the cell boxes from 3 enormous machines. We have the tank with the concentrate from the sleeve box. It's in the gold room. Now, this isn't just rinsing out some dirt. It's a painstaking, hours-long process of careful washing, screening, and panning to ensure not a single precious flake is lost. For Chris, a man in his 60s, this non-stop cycle was more than just a job. It was a physical ordeal. He was the guy who never complained, the one who just put his head down and got the work done season after season. But this time was different. You could see the toll it was taking. He was drowning. The pressure became so intense that for the first time in his long and storied career with Parker, he had to raise a white flag. It was either speak up or collapse. Something had to give. The most shocking fact is that the crew was stretched so thin across 3 sites that there was no one to spare. Pulling an operator off a dozer or a rock truck to help in the gold room was out of the question. Every single person was essential to feeding the 3 hungry wash plants. This left Chris isolated and facing an impossible task. In an act of desperation, he finally approached Parker and threw out a name. Tatiana Costa. Tatiana. Maybe she's like one of our top operators. Yeah, Mitch and Tyson are not going to be happy if Tatiana comes out of the field. She was one of the best and most versatile equipment operators on the team, but she had 0 experience in the delicate, high-stakes art of gold recovery. It was a massive gamble. Proposing to take a top operator out of the field during a record-breaking push was a huge ask, one that Parker's other foremen, Mitch and Tyson, were bound to resist. But the alternative was watching Chris, the heart and soul of the cleanup operation, walk away for good. Parker, for all his single-minded ambition, knew he couldn't afford to lose Chris. The decision was made. Tatiana would be pulled from her machine and trained. Chris would finally get some help. But the damage was already done. The message, whether intended or not, was crystal clear. Parker's 10,000-ounce ambition was more important than the well-being of his most loyal man. This single brutal season was the final straw, but the real reasons for his departure had been building for years. More than a minor. To truly understand the shock wave Chris Doumit's departure sent through the gold rush world, you have to understand who he was to the operation. He wasn't just another miner on the payroll. He was the quiet architect of Parker Schnabel's empire, the secret ingredient that turned a young kid's ambition into the most successful mining operation in the show's history. And you can see this everywhere if you look closely. Just have to stay on top of it. You get it running too fast, and things just jam up too quickly. The most amazing part of his story is that Chris Doummit wasn't even a gold miner to begin with. He stumbled into this world completely by accident. He first appeared on the show as a carpenter hired to build cabins for Todd Hoffman's original, often chaotic crew. He was just a guy with a hammer, a saw, and a calm, no-nonsense attitude. But the Klondike has a way of pulling people in, and one thing led to another. Soon enough, he found himself knee-deep in the mud and the madness. When he made the pivotal switch to join Parker's fledgling team in Season 4, it was a match that would change the course of gold mining on television. Parker was the young, fiery prodigy with the big ideas and the boundless energy. But Chris was the steady hand, the voice of seasoned experience that grounded those wild ambitions in reality. His meticulous, almost surgical work in the gold room is directly responsible for Parker smashing records year after year. Let's look at the numbers. Season 5, over 2,500 ounces. Season 7, over 4,300 ounces. Season 8, a staggering 6,200 ounces. These figures, worth tens of millions of dollars, don't happen if you have someone sloppy or careless in the gold room. Chris ensured every possible flake was recovered.